This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Netflix. Coming up on Destructoid, Square Enix lost some important pieces of Kingdom Hearts. We've got some new details on The Order 1886, and it looks like the Ouya won't be the only Android gaming console in town for too much longer. All that and more right now on Destructoid. Hello and welcome to Destructoid. I am Max Scoville, and with me, filling in for Tara Long, is Adam Sessler.
Yeah, that's me.
Welcome back, Adam.
Yeah, I stayed here.
You did. You didn't have to. I said you could go outside, but I guess you got locked in. If you missed Tuesday's show, you're probably aware it's been a strange week. Zach and Tara went to Singapore. Adam went to the DMV.
I did.
I had to leave early to go do laundry. It's been a weird, slow, kind of dreary, strange summer week. The two of us have been sitting around the Rev 3 offices in our long johns, just hacking up wooden furniture and burning it to keep warm because the AC's turned up really high. We don't know how to use the thermostat, so needless to say, that's why we're not doing a live show, because that requires competence. On that note, let's get into the gaming news, because these fine folks are here.
Let's do it competently.
Yes, competence. So I know I'm not the only one who's dying to hear more about what's next for the Metal Gear franchise, but given Kojima's reputation for long development times, his habit of gradually trickling out and teasing information about his games, and the fact that Metal Gear Solid 5 still has no release date or year, it might be a ways off. In the meantime, though, there's always room for speculation. At a roundtable this week, Kojima allegedly claimed that he was looking for a studio to completely remake Metal Gear Solid 1 using Metal Gear Solid 5's Fox engine. Amazing. Unfortunately, it was also a mistranslation, and Kojima's comments really only amounted to, yes, seeing a modern remake of Metal Gear Solid 1 would be pretty cool. Not saying he was actually actively trying to make it happen, just said it, yeah, that sounds okay. Later, after clarifying this on Twitter, he added that if there is some creator or team in this world who has love and passion to remake Metal Gear Solid 1, I would love to ask for it. Now, that's sort of a surprise, given that Twin Snakes didn't go over so well with him, and Silicon Knights allegedly butchered that, on GameCube. But before seeing the correction, the UK studio Just Add Water, who've been behind some of the HD remakes of the Oddworld games, posted an open letter to Kojima on their blog saying how much they would love to work on a remake of the classic game, which I think is just kind of sweet to see some kind of professional appreciation of each other's work in this industry. But considering they've got a passion for the series as well as experience remaking classic PlayStation 1 series in HD, it could turn out pretty cool. Though I again imagine Kojima's actually in real talk, not just being polite, probably pretty wary of letting third-party studios near his games. What do you think of this? I think it's odd that they would jump on Metal Gear Solid 1 because that's so recent.
And someone's already done it. I think he has the Fox engine. It's really cool, and he wants to share it with somebody. It's like he has a toy, and no one will come over and play with it.
It's a pretty engine. It's pretty cool.
It's a very, very pretty.
I imagine
engine.
It takes quite a bit of development to make things right. I'd love to see a remake of Metal Gear, the first one, or Metal Gear 2, which was never actually released stateside in a formal, standalone release. And all the other Metal Gears kind of cite back to those two. So
and do that in the Fox engine.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
Yeah. Well, speaking of old games being respected and revered,
yes,
you have a
because there is nothing more that I enjoy talking about than Kingdom Hearts. Because please send me more emails and tweets about when Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out, because I care. Anyway, there was a video that just emerged. It was created by Square Enix, the publisher of Kingdom Hearts. It was from E3, and they reveal in this interview with series creator Tetsuya Nomura that the 1.5 remix edition of the original Kingdom Hearts, due out in September, it's made from the ground up because, get this, the original assets were lost. That's a little distressing because 2002 wasn't all that long ago. I still remember it. We hear these stories about film masters being lost, but those are primarily from the era of silent films. I mean, Shakespeare's Quatrains managed to survive from the 17th century. How do these digital assets get lost? I mean, how many other assets for other video games have gone missing and we're not even aware of it now? Anyhow, aside from my anxieties, a lot of work has been put in to recreate the game for the HD upgrade. So for a franchise that I love to not like that much, I'm already feeling guilty.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well, that is sort of the point of HD remakes, is that they are how you kind of defend against backwards compatibility and make a game that maybe doesn't look so hot in its aspect ratio.
But just how do you?
There's
can't. Disney images. Yeah. They can't just hit delete when you're done making the game.
I feel like they just try to make it sound mysterious. They're like, from the lost files, we've recreated this from the ground up from a game that is over 10 years old.
I still think it's a stunt.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Yeah,
this.
I would believe that. Anyway, new games. They make those too, I think. One of the big new games that was revealed during E3 that we still know basically nothing about is the upcoming PS4 title, The Order 1886, for which we got a rather gorgeous CG reveal trailer full of steampunk doohickeys and foggy old-timey London, but which we don't actually know anything about the game because it's a CG trailer. Now we do know some details. A post went up on the PlayStation blog giving a few tidbits about the game. It is a third-person shooter with a linear story, which admittedly sounds pretty generic. However, it's being developed by Ready at Dawn, the studio behind the God of War PSP games, and the thing that they are really hyping is the specific visual aesthetic that they are going for, which aims to transcend cinematic to become filmic, which is a different pretentious buzzword meaning basically the same thing. However, the thing that they're doing actually does sound really cool. Apparently the game's graphics incorporate true lens distortion, meaning that Ready at Dawn has virtually recreated physical camera lenses, like those glass things on the front of those old-timey machines, to give the Order the appearance of having actually been shot on film. And they're throwing in kind of dust and dirt and scratches and stuff too, presumably to kind of remove some of the hard edges and inherent cleanliness that digital imagery tends to have. I'm sure there's a very large group of people who are very vocally rolling their eyes at this announcement because there's a lot of people who don't like it when games are cinematic, and they probably don't want them to be filmic too, and I'll agree that filmic is a terrible buzzword, but if the Order actually looks as cool as they are describing it, color me intrigued, though I don't know why you would describe the visuals of a game that you've already revealed instead of just showing off what it actually looks like.
Welcome to the game industry and the way they treat press.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, speaking of new IPs,
Yeah,
another
speaking of new IPs, as if the U.S. government's recently revealed PRISM program, their dragnet of data collection, and Albert Snowden, is it Albert or Edward? It's Edward Snowden, weren't already some...
Edward Furlong.
Yes, exactly, it's him. If they weren't already some type of timely marketing boon for Ubisoft's upcoming paranoid hackfest Watchdogs, well, the company decided to double down and create a website. It's called wearedata.watchdogs.com, and it has detailed maps of London, Paris, and Berlin, and it shows all the publicly available data on ATMs, CCTV cameras, Twitter activity, unemployment rates, Foursquare, what the average income is for that region. It's all right there and you can just click over it. Now, thankfully, none of it is hackable, but it is an effective demonstration that easily trackable data is widely available. And while checking it out, you can be further encouraged to purchase the game because there's probably someone somewhere who doesn't know anything about it. It's an interesting site. And I think they're trying to say that Watch Dogs isn't that far removed from reality. Yeah. I'm already so paranoid, I already kind of assumed that people are watching my every move.
Mm-hmm. No, totally. I think it's an interesting little thing. It's sort of, it seems kind of like it's just like a moot point at this point because it's like we know that there's information all over the place. I'm surprised there's no Facebook integration with this Gizmo site.
Yes.
But what I think is funny is that this is really kind of a well, I would say 21st century Grand Theft Auto, except we have those. I would say that it's much more of an example. You know, used to be you'd steal someone's car and run them over with it. Now you steal someone's bank account and make them a registered sex offender. What do you know?
Yeah,
and I'm wondering if we're going to see cybercrime getting blamed on games ever, or if it's just going to be.
Oh no, it will.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to blame chewing gum when that's banned on games. I mean, you know, it's a good repository for the blaming of all things. We're going to be blamed for things that happened before there were games. Watch.
Okay. Well, anyway, on that note, let's take a quick word from our sponsor, and when we're back, let's talk about the other video game console that might be launching this year, the Google one. Anyway, do you want to watch things explode, but your fingers are too tired to play video games? Well, Netflix is the solution to all your problems. With Netflix, you can stream unlimited movies and TV shows with stuff blowing up in them to just about any device with an internet connection. Mac, PC, PS3, 360, Wii U, smartphone, 3DS, and Vita, and so on and so forth. In addition to their wide selection of TV shows and movies involving things blowing up, Netflix has a huge selection of TV shows and movies about just about everything else, including kissing, swear words, and animals. Seriously, it's everything you could possibly want. Just go look at it. You watch our show, so we know you have distinguished taste or something like that. And if you haven't already, go sign up for Netflix. Just head to netflix.com/Destructoid and sign up for a 1-month free trial today. And hey, international viewers, have you checked to see if Netflix is available in your part of the world? Because if so, that offer is good for you too. Just head to netflix.com/Destructoid and it will automatically redirect you. And we're back.
We are.
From a brief momentary cessation of our talking about games. So if you haven't been paying the closest of attention, this time of year is something of a dry spell for fun gaming news. There's your usual kind of dull roar of industry bull and hearsay and gossip, but it's usually pretty quiet between E3 and Comic-Con in terms of big announcements. However, this morning, the Wall Street Journal reported that in addition to an Android-powered smartwatch, which I'm into, and a new version of the Nexus Q, Google's also apparently got a gaming console in the works. Not a whole lot is known, but allegedly the Android unit and the Google X hardware lab are working with the recently purchased Motorola hardware division to create some kind of a gaming device.
Because we need more.
Yes, because
we need more.
I feel so bad for the Ouya. Somebody got mad at me on Twitter for making fun of the Ouya, but it's like, have you used it?
It's terrible.
It's a crowdsourced, Android gaming console, and then Google comes in if there needed to be like something else to just really drive home that it may be a $99 thing.
It's one of those. Look, it's a fairly crowded market. We have Microsoft, we have Sony, we have Nintendo, who's having a hard time even getting an angle on it. Yeah, we need more. I mean, look, it's Google. Google has powers that I do not possess, and probably with their name and that imprimatur, that will get people's attention. But at the same time, I'm not seeing that there's all this demand for Android games on your television. We have phones, we have tablets. They're doing just fine.
Yeah, imagine if they combine the kind of the gaming side of things with the whole Nexus Q, and you're like, oh, it's a Roku box, but it's a Google one, and you play your Angry Birds on it.
It makes for a good story.
Yeah.
Does it make for a good console?
Yeah, I just feel so bad for the Ouya people because Google's like, $99, ho 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 ho. Motorola, make me a new box. That's my Google impression. Oh dear God, that's it for today. I apologize for no live show and for this abysmally these scrapings, these crumbs of news, and for making you guys look at a wild-eyed bearded man instead of the lovely Tara Long. But worry not, everything will be back to normal next week. Where can they see the things that we make?
Yes, you can see them. Rev3 Games. Go to youtube.com/Rev3Games, and you can click that subscribe button.
Go watch some dumb videos of us. And of course, if you want video game news, even in the dead of summer, go check out Destructoid.com. There's lots of things to read about there, even things we didn't talk about today. And why don't you lead us out with the Twitter plugs?
So if you'd like access to a steady trickle of the trivial musings of a pair of sad little men, be sure to follow us on Twitter. I'm at Adam Sessler. He is at Max Scoville, and the show is at Detoid Show.
I love making you talk about Twitter. It's so funny. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Adam, leave.